And that's what prompted me to tweet the following thought last night.
So this is a bit unusual for me. I usually like to take someone's full video and pick it apart start to finish. Although finish is usually when I get distracted by something shiny. But today we are starting off a ways into this individual's video. Because what he has to say is so densely packed with ignorance, arrogance and outright stupidity. I just want to dive right into it. But the quick context for this is, someone spoke about having anxiety in an advert, and now he's the big mad about it. Right, take it away. This gonna be fun. Kind of.
I said, quoting myself.
Because, of course, you were quoting yourself. This wouldn't be something I would normally need to make fun of, but quoting yourself is a perfect analogy for your whole thing. So yeah, sorry, hyperactive brain, do the much smart making.
One of the worst things to happen in modern times is the medicalization of the human condition. Now people who experience anxiety think they're sick. They aren't. Anxiety is a fundamental fact of human existence. It is not a disease. That's what I wrote.
Okay, so yeah, that's wrong. That's completely, unequivocally incorrect. And goes against everything we have learned about how brains work in the last few decades or so. The idea that it's one of the worst things to happen is so dumb. Because it's actually one of the best, as now people can understand and get a firm grasp on why they feel how they feel, and actually do something about it. The fact that you think that's bad is baffling. At least it would be if you were actually as smart as you think you are. But we are about to discover that that is very far away from the reality of this situation.
That's what I believe. We have set out to medicalize and diseaseify every aspect of the human condition, every difficult emotion, every unpleasant personality trait.
We didn't set out to do that. We did this thing called science. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's kind of important tool that allows us to figure out how things work and why. And we use this science thing on the brain because I don't know if you know this, but much like an arm or a leg or anything else, it turns out that brains can actually be broken. I know, it's wild, but yeah, if you want to sit there and claim that, no, actually, all brains are the same and there can't ever be issues with them, then I have some bad news. Yours might be the most broken one of all. Personally, I would return something that profoundly defective.
That's why the DSM now has something like 300 mental disorders listed, and over 50 million adults in this country have been diagnosed with at least one of them.
Oh, gotta love the use of big numbers as, oh noes, isn't this the scary? And yet I hear that and think, oh good, these people can get help. That's the thing, we both have very different outlooks on this. Mine is very hopeful, looking to the future where people will be happy to go to the doctors about chronic mental illness without feeling like they're an asshole for having these feelings, as they would with any other persistent pain or condition. And yours is wrong.
Now, as you might expect, that opinion provoked an intense and almost entirely negative reaction.
Really? Going on the internet and saying something that is not only incredibly wrong, but also kinda dickish made people get a bit upset with you. Shocking that. Perhaps next time, what you should do is not talk about things that you clearly have absolutely zero knowledge or expertise in. That would be a smart move. But as we all know, that's just not how you roll. Dumbass for life, bruh!
Almost entirely negative public reaction, I should qualify. I have gotten a lot of private messages from people whispering their agreement with me, saying, hey, I agree with you, attaboy.
Oh, well, you should have said that sooner. Dipshits sharing their dipshit agreement with your dipshit opinion away from prying eyes is the very definition of confidence in their dipshit ideas. Also, this is great for you, because it could be thousands of them. It could be like 3, and we would never know because it's a secret. I mean, even if it were millions of people, that wouldn't stop them from all being wrong and stupid. Don't know if I mentioned that already.
Thumbs up. But in public, almost everyone who's chimed in and contributed to the discussion has been of the opinion that I am wrong, and not only wrong, but a filthy, worthless piece of human dirt for even daring to say something like this out loud.
Hey, that's not fair of them. You're not a filthy piece of human's dirt for saying that out loud. You're a filthy human piece of dirt for existing and choosing to be the humans. I don't know why any of you do that. Surely you should choose to be something cool, like a tortoise. Armor for days.
Or tweet it out loud. Now I am saying it out loud because the one way to ensure that I keep saying something and keep saying it louder and louder is to demand that I stop saying it.
Do you take recommendations? I think you should never ever say, I am the world's biggest dumber who is the stupid and smells faintly of cat piss. I am an incompetent sexer and I fall down a lot whenever I try to walk and talk at the same time. Yep, definitely shouldn't ever say that again. Wink.
Yes, that's the maturity level for me. You tell me to stop saying it, I'm going to say it louder. That's the way I work.
So you're admitting you're an immature jackass. Which all sounds well and good. I mean, I love a bit of self-deprecation, but you also clearly believe that people should take you seriously when, well, aside from what you say, think, and do all being stupid, no, actually, that is pretty much why no one should take you seriously.
Now, I'd like to explain my point of view a little bit, but I want to be clear before I do that
you are in no way an expert on anything in the medical field, especially when it comes to mental health. And so the things that you are saying should be taken with a grain of salt. And when I say taken with a grain of salt, I mean mocked roundly and then ignored forever as the idiotic ramblings of a complete fool that they are. That's what he's going to say. I can just feel it.
This explanation is in no way an apology.
Oh, never mind. But, no, I didn't expect an apology from you. In fact, I would imagine that you will double down. That somehow the fact that everybody, laymen and experts alike, are telling you that you sound like a caveman f***ing a xylophone when you talk about this subject, that magically makes you even more correct in your completely asinine interpretation of reality.
I don't apologize at all. I'm really happy that I said what I said, and I couldn't have been more right about it.
Ha! Called it. Yes, of course, you couldn't have been more right. As we all know, one's refusal to admit that they might have been wrong and steadfast assertion that no matter how much it's demonstrated that they are incorrect, that they will never change their position based on new information. That is the sign of an absolute galaxy intellect. An intellect so big that it's basically empty.
And if you're someone who reacts to an honest opinion by screaming and crying and ranting and raving,
I would bet hardly anyone is screaming, crying, ranting and raving at you or anything like that. Sure, maybe a couple of people did, but there are always people who do that. The honest among us don't pay attention to those people, and certainly don't lump everyone in with that group. The vast majority of people will have calmly called you out and explained how and why that was a silly thing to say. If you do take all those responses as screaming and crying and ranting and raving on a text-based platform, that says far more about you and your projection than it does about them. Cry more, mate. It sustains me.
The problem is you. You, in fact, owe me an apology for being so unreasonable and annoying.
I mean, if anyone is unreasonable and annoying, it's you know what? I will apologize to you. I do think you genuinely deserve it. I am sorry. I am extremely sorry that you are a self-aggrandizing moron who thinks that the world revolves around him and his stupid opinions. How was that?
So I accept your apology. You are forgiven.
That's very big of you. Almost as big as my pig.
Now let's move on to the actual issue. And as far as that goes, a few points I want to make. Number one.
Oh, God, he's got even more smart points to make. Okay, I just got to psych myself up for this. Yes, I mean down half a bottle of whiskey. How else am I supposed to cope? We are 2 pages into this script, and he's not running out of embarrassingly dumb shit to say. Come on. I think we all know I was lying when I said this was going to be fun. Everything I ever do is an exercise in pain and futility.
I have been accused of stigmatizing mental illness with this opinion. I'm told the same whenever I argue that ADHD is not a real mental illness, which it isn't. Not a real disorder, which it isn't.
Look at you, just layering on the expert opinions that you are having. How can one man be so devastatingly wrong whilst confidently talking utter nonsense like that? I know. I shouldn't be surprised, but I always am. I think it goes to show the efficacy of an all-whiskey diet when it comes to deleting all this garbage from my brain. But it does also mean that I can't remember what I was doing this morning. Meh. It's a fair compromise, I think.
But, what I'm doing is exactly the opposite of stigmatizing.
Saying that people don't have mental illnesses is inherently stigmatizing, because you are literally saying, this thing that makes your life so much harder than mine, yeah, you're a bad person for saying you have that issue and need to pretend that you don't have it, even though that's literally impossible for the most part. Even with help, most conditions can only be managed. Yeah, you're a prick for that opinion. No matter how honest or earnest an opinion, the fact that you think it and that you are 100% unquestionably right when you have no idea what you're talking about is just completely infuriating.
What I'm saying is that anxiety is an inevitable part of being human. It comes with our consciousness and self-awareness.
First off, self-awareness, that's our word. You don't get to use that word when you are obviously lacking in it. And secondly, having a bit of anxiety sometime and having an anxiety disorder are not the same thing, you absolute cretin. This mental health not exist opinion is bafflingly common, especially amongst the cognitively lacking, because you have to be incredibly stupid to think that, well, I have had anxiety or depression or what have you once or twice. I felt those things for a limited time, therefore no one on the planet could have experienced them differently from me. Seriously, how egotistical are you that you can't even fathom that other people have different lives to you?
Stigmatize? No, to stigmatize is to say that it's weird or embarrassing. If anything, calling it a mental disorder is stigmatizing.
Accurately naming things so we know what they are, how serious they are, so that we can actually do something about them is not stigma. Behaving like everyone who acknowledges their issues and works towards fixing them, being some kind of idiot tricked by big, mental health into thinking there is something wrong with them when there really isn't and they just need to get over it, that stigmatizes them.
I'm also not minimizing anxiety. I'm not stigmatizing or minimizing. Just because it comes with being human doesn't mean that it's any less painful, difficult, sometimes overwhelming.
And what if, say, it was constantly overwhelming? What if it never went away, no matter how hard you tried? No matter what you did to have a positive outlook or not the consistent feeling of dread? One might think perhaps there is something more fundamental wrong with them. One might, actually need help to deal with that issue. This kind of shit, it's like saying, well, I know amputees don't exist because I fell down and scraped my knee once and I was fine. Look, my leg is still there. People need to stop thinking that they don't have limbs. That's how you sound. That's how staggeringly wrong you are. Add in the fact that you would almost certainly accept every other part of a person being able to be damaged, but for no reason, brains are exempt. Even though of all the parts of the human anatomy, it's the one that we're still learning a shitload about due to its sheer complexity. Well, the complexity of other people's, obviously. We all know yours contains a faded JPEG of a scan of a sun-bleached Polaroid of a brain. And that description is the most complex thing about it.
Neither am I saying that those struggling with their anxiety shouldn't seek help. Again, just because anxiety is human doesn't mean that we should wallow helplessly in it.
People with chronic disorders aren't wallowing, dipshit. It's literally inescapable. Like I said, most conditions are something that you have to manage. If you got sad or anxious or whatever and it went away, then yeah, that's the human condition. That happens. But that's not what happens to everyone and not what the rest of us are talking about. And if you can't wrap your head around that, maybe you shouldn't speak on subjects that are out of your grasp and stick to things that are like, how to put on socks? Oh, wait, I said something that you could talk about. That's a thinker.
So I'm not stigmatizing, I'm not minimizing, and I'm not saying that people shouldn't get help. I'm simply arguing that we have made a category error. We have placed anxiety along with many other human emotions and experiences, like, for example, despair, into a medical box when it doesn't belong there.
And I'm saying that you have made a category error, one where you think that you have a brain inside your head that comes up with coherent ideas that are smart and meaningful when actually It's simply a series of honks and farts in a cacophony of unintelligible noises that is then translated into a loose series of words and statements that don't actually mean anything other than, I'm a fucking moron.
2. The idea that anxiety is a fundamental fact of human existence, a defining fact, actually, is not new or bold. I wish I could take credit for having this bold, interesting, new opinion. I don't.
Oh, God, nope. I think we're done here. I don't think I can take another one of his waffling, asinine nonsense spiels about something else he likely doesn't understand. But yeah, I have no idea who this guy is, but hot damn, not a fan. He's arrogant, stupid, probably smells funny. It's like an unfunny version of me. Gross.
Wait, before you go, I have something super important to tell you. It's life or death. It will change everything forever. Nope, wait, it's gone. Oh well, probably wasn't important. But while I have you, don't forget to comment, subscribe and notify. And if you want more of my smexy voice, check out Mrs. Six's channel Spoonstaff Stories, where I narrate and voice all the videos, and she does the work. And if you want to support the channel, check out the merch store for cool t-shirts, or check out Patreon, memberships and PayPal to support directly. Finally, follow me on the medias of social to get completely pointless guff and to keep up on the latest releases. Oh, I just remembered what I was going to tell you. Whatever you do, don't touch the